I was thinking about some of the principles of combat leadership that I talk about all the time. One of them is prioritize and execute. And the reason I was thinking about this is because obviously I talk about it a lot from a business perspective. I talk about it a lot from a combat leadership perspective. And sometimes I talk about it from a life perspective. And I think I know it's applicable in all those categories. It is absolutely applicable in all those categories. But there's something else that in talking with people and communicating with people, I talk to a lot of people and communicate with a lot of people in a lot of different situations and scenarios. And one of those is I talk to people that are dealing with like a bunch of different issues. Sometimes emotional type issues, sometimes traumatic type issues. And because of, this is interesting, you know, I always say in combat, because of Murphy's Law, all your problems are going to hit you at the same time. In business, because of Murphy's Law, all your problems are going to hit you at the same time. So you're going to get the client that's mad, the factory that's on fire, the supply chain that's broken. It's all going to happen at the same time. In combat, you're going to get somebody wounded. You're going to have a bad head count. You're going to have civilians steal. You're going to have all these things happening at the same time. And in life, same thing. You're going to have your water heater break. You're going to have your kid sick. You're going to have all this stuff, Murphy's Law. But this also happens on an emotional level too. So I talk to people and sometimes I see that they are under an emotional attack. And because of Murphy's Law, it's an emotional attack from multiple different directions. And what I wanted to talk about is the fact that even in those situations, prioritize and execute still comes into play. So when you have multiple emotional traumatic scenarios happening at the same time, your reaction can be the same as someone messing up on the battlefield. That is, they freeze, they freeze, they don't do anything, or they try and solve all the things at the same time. Same thing can happen in business. I don't know what to do, what should I focus on? And they don't do anything, or they try and solve all their problems at the same time. Life, the same thing can happen. So when we as humans get hit with multiple emotional attacks or like psychological attacks, you know, it's like you lost your job, you lost your girlfriend, you found out that you've got some sickness that's going on, and all those three things happen at the same time. Look, if one of them happens, you lose your job, you got your girl, you're okay. You lose your girl, you still go to work, you got your job, you're okay. But when you lose both those things, it's a huge hit to your emotional stability. And then on top of that, you find out that you're sick. And then on top of that, you know, the mortgage is due, and now you're a couple days late. So these are like problems, but they're not just normal problems. They're emotional problems, and they hit you at an emotional level. So in those situations, prioritize and execute still applies. And I've talked to some people through this recently who have had some significant emotional challenges going on. And it's the same principle. Okay, what is the major cause of your problem? Okay, you've got a bunch of problems going on. You've got this one major significant problem. Let's talk through that problem first. Let's focus on coming to grips with that initial problem. Because you combine 6 problems, this is how people get overwhelmed. This is how people end up hurting themselves, killing themselves. Because there's 6 problems, they're just overwhelmed, and they say, I can't, I'm never gonna get out of this. Same thing on the battlefield. You got all these problems going on, leader doesn't know what to do, they freeze, they don't do anything. They think, oh, I'm overwhelmed. So when you have 5, 6, 7 emotional things that are dragging you down, prioritize and execute. Okay, what's the biggest issue that I have right now? How can I start to address that? What can I do to get to a better place with that particular issue?